Hi, everyone. Joining of the internet. This is Mr. Van Houw, and today we are going to have a brief flipped classroom lesson on identifying an important part of speech, and that is the noun. So just as an overview of what I will be talking about over the next 10 or so minutes, first, I will define what is a noun, something you might already be familiar with. And then we'll look at some different types of nouns and talk about some corresponding grammatical rules, in particular with capitalization. So when do you capitalize certain nouns? When do you not capitalize other nouns? So we'll look at those grammatical rules, and then I'll leave you with some tips for identifying nouns in speech and writing. Just as a reminder, as we do these flipped classroom lessons, you need to be taking close notes. And you also have the option of pausing or rewinding whenever you need to slow down or if you want to review things that you might have missed. Okay, and also tomorrow in class, we will be doing some practice and some exercises, putting to use what you have learned from this lecture. So with that said, let's take a look at nouns. So what is a noun? You've probably heard this before, but it's worth reviewing if you already know. Nouns name persons, places, things, or objects, and concepts or ideas. There are three basic types of nouns that we are going to look at. Okay, so we're going to look at what are known as proper nouns. We'll also look at common nouns. And lastly, we will look at what is known as gerunds. So proper nouns, common nouns, and gerunds. First up, we have proper nouns. So what is a proper noun? Well, proper nouns are the names of specific people, places, and things. So if you are referring to a specific person, a specific place, or a specific thing, that is a proper noun. So think of nouns for which there is no substitute. Nothing else could substitute for that particular noun. That is a proper noun. So it is specific, irreplaceable. And the important grammatical rule that corresponds to proper nouns, they are always capitalized without exception. So make sure you know this rule. Proper nouns are always capitalized. What are some examples of proper nouns? We have a person's first and last names. Okay, so first and last names are always capitalized. They are proper nouns. There is no substitute for a person's name. Okay, it refers to a specific person and no one else. Therefore, it is always capitalized. Same for the names of organizations. And thinking of geography, the names of cities, towns, counties, states, countries, etc. Okay, specific places for which there is no substitute. Okay, always capitalized. Those are proper nouns. So examples of proper nouns include names, organizations, or corporations, companies, etc. And then geographical locations that are specific, okay, are always capitalized. Taking a look at some examples of proper nouns. Okay, so this sentence, the University of Chicago is hosting a talk on global politics next Friday. Okay, and so the underlined terms, University of Chicago and Friday, are the proper nouns in that sentence. They refer to specific place in University of Chicago, or a specific thing, a specific day, Friday. Okay, so the University of Chicago is hosting a talk on global politics next Friday. Now, you might have noticed in that sentence that there are other nouns, okay, in that sentence. So a talk, okay, is a thing, okay, it is an activity, it is an event. That is a noun, but it is not a proper noun. It does not refer to something specific for which there is no substitute. And I'll talk about what type of noun that is in our next slide. Global politics, also a general subject, okay? It is a noun, it is a thing, but because it's not specific, okay, it is not capitalized. However, the University of Chicago is a specific place, okay? When I refer to it, I'm referring to no other place besides the university that is located in Hyde Park on the south side of Chicago, the University of Chicago. There is no substitute for that. Therefore, it is capitalized. And another important grammatical note when we talk about capitalization, days of the week and months, those are proper nouns. They are always capitalized. Okay, so important to note, important to remember in your own writing. Whenever you refer to a day of the week or a month, okay, that is always capitalized, no exception. Second example, I am fishing with Grandpa on Lake Geneva tomorrow. Okay, so Grandpa is underlined. It is a name. It is the name that I use for my grandfather. Okay, so Grandpa is a specific person in this context. Okay, Lake Geneva is a specific place. Okay, so Grandpa and Lake Geneva are capitalized. You'll also notice the first word in the sentence is the pronoun I. Okay, so the first person subject pronoun referring to myself. And also important to note when we talk about capitalization, the pronoun I is always capitalized, whether it's the first word in a sentence or if it's in the middle or end of a sentence. Doesn't matter where it falls, it is always capitalized. So take a look at these examples. Make sure that you understand why they are proper nouns, the underlined examples. And we'll move on to our second type of noun, and that is the common noun. Okay, so common nouns are basically the opposite of proper nouns. So where proper nouns refer to specific people, places, things, common nouns can refer to any person, place, or thing. So it's a very sort of general idea rather than a specific idea. So any person, place, or thing, okay, not specifically referring to someone or something or someplace, okay, that is a common noun. And the grammatical rule, you might have guessed it, okay, the opposite of proper nouns, common nouns are never capitalized. Okay, so proper nouns refer to specific people, places, things, and are always capitalized. Common nouns can refer to any person, place, or thing and are never capitalized. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of examples of common nouns. This sentence, many universities offer seminars and discussions on important issues. Each word that is underlined in that sentence is a proper, or rather a common noun. So many universities, okay, referring in general to universities, okay, not referring to a specific university, but in general, many universities, okay, a university is a thing, okay, and so because we are referring to it generally, or the general idea of a university, or the general place of a university, it is not capitalized in this sentence. A seminar, a discussion, an issue, those are things, okay, but because they were referred to generally, in this sentence, they are not capitalized. But you'll notice we've got 4 common nouns in a fairly short sentence. Many universities offer seminars and discussions on important issues. Notice how general the context of that sentence is. Therefore, the nouns are common nouns. They are not capitalized. Looking at a second example that is similar to the second example from the previous slide. I am driving up to Lake Geneva tonight to see my grandfather. Okay, you'll notice, okay, that in this case, I am not referring to my grandfather as Grandpa by the title by which I know him, okay, or I refer to him, but I'm speaking more generally in a possessive sense, my grandfather. Okay, so speaking more generally, not using the specific title for that person. Okay, so therefore it is a common noun. Think of it this way, everyone has 2 grandfathers. Okay, so my grandfather, not specifying which one. Okay, so therefore it is a common noun and it is not capitalized in this particular sentence. Looking at now some examples of common nouns and proper nouns. So again, just to review or to reiterate, common nouns are general people, places, or things. Okay, so not specific. Proper nouns are specific people, places, and things for which there is no substitute. So going through this chart with some examples, if I'm speaking generically about a coffee shop or a cafe, okay, referring to it in that way, it is not capitalized, okay? It is a common noun. But if I'm talking about Starbucks, okay, a specific organization or a specific cafe, okay, it is capitalized. If I am referring to a teacher, okay, in the general sense, okay, not capitalized, but if I am referring to Mr. Van Howe, okay, that is capitalized, a specific person, and remember that first and last names are always capitalized. So our other examples in this chart, we have khakis, okay, generic type of pants. J. Crew is a specific brand of clothing. It is capitalized. A country is a general place or a general idea or concept. Canada is a specific place. It is capitalized. It is a proper noun. And then lastly, referring to an arena, there are arenas all over the country, all over the world. But if I am referring to specifically to the arena where the Blackhawks and the Bulls play, okay, I am referring to the United Center, okay, and so that is capitalized. There is no other substitute for the United Center. Okay, so the difference between common nouns and proper nouns, once more, common nouns are general and they are never capitalized. Proper nouns are specific and they are always capitalized. And that brings us to our third type of noun, and that is known as the gerund. So gerunds are a little bit tricky. They're easy to identify because they are nouns formed from verbs ending in ing. So basically, ing words are known as gerunds. In most instances, they are considered to be gerunds. Okay, and we'll talk about how to differentiate between ing words that are gerunds and ing words that are verbs. Okay, but a gerund is a noun formed from a verb and it ends in ing. One way to identify nouns, or rather gerunds, is that gerunds describe an activity. Okay, so they describe an activity. Some examples: reading, writing, dancing, etc., jumping, walking, throwing. Okay, those are nouns, activities formed from verbs. So the gerund reading, okay, is formed from the verb to read. okay, which describes an action or conveys an action. But when I attach the ing to the end of it, it becomes a noun that describes an activity. Okay, so gerunds, important thing to remember, they describe activities and they end in ing. Okay, so a tip for identifying nouns, and this is particular with gerunds, okay, but also just any noun. If you can put a, an, or the, those are parts of speech that are known as articles. So if you can put a, an, or the in front of a word and it still makes sense, or it still sounds right or feels right, then it is most likely a noun. Okay, so for example, a reading or the reading sounds complete, therefore it is a noun. Okay, so if I were to say, please complete the reading for tomorrow's class, okay, the reading is a noun. It is an activity. It is a thing. Okay, therefore it is a gerund. Okay, if I said instead, I would like you to read, okay, in that case, to read would be a verb. It's something that conveys action. But with ing attached to it and with an article in front of it, it is a noun. So an important tip, if you're looking for nouns in speech or in writing and you're not sure if it's a noun or if it's some other different part of speech, try putting one of these articles, a, an, or the, in front of it. And if it still makes sense, if it still sounds complete, then it is most likely a noun. So to summarize the flipped classroom lesson for today on identifying nouns, what's important for you to know? You need to know that there are 3 different types of nouns. So you need to know the difference between proper nouns, common nouns, and gerunds. You need to know the corresponding rules for capitalization with those different types of nouns. And then you need to be able to identify the different types of nouns in speech and writing. And that's what we're going to do tomorrow in class. So tomorrow in class, I want you to bring your notes from this lecture, and I want you to be prepared to do some practice identifying nouns. So if you have any questions, please bring them in at the beginning of class. You'll get plenty of opportunities if you have some confusion or if you're unsure about these different types of nouns. You'll have opportunities to work that out tomorrow in class. And as always, I am available for conferencing during my office hours or before and after school. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to this lecture, and I will see you at our next meeting.